news at 5:30, a special committee within the Erie County Legislature will look into and, if needed, try to fix the county's vehicle fleet. This comes after the Comptroller's Office did an audit of the 1,200 vehicles last fall.
That audit found a lack of oversight, weak and ambiguous policies, and poor internal controls that create a system ripe for abuse. We have Legislator Jeanne Vinal here, who now plans on acting as chairwoman, or at least a leader of a bipartisan committee that will hopefully be formed to study this issue and dive a little bit deeper into it, at least do a better accounting of it. Jeanne, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you for asking me.
So you saw this audit that was done by Comptroller Kevin Hardwick. What surprised you most about the data that you received? Because there are a lot of vehicles out there among the county.
Well, I had an inkling that there was a problem recently because during budget questioning and during the issues with Granville, questions about who does the reporting for tax purposes of the value of the take-home vehicle. Didn't seem like there was knowledge about that. And then also with regard to was there really a statement as to can you use the vehicles for personal use at home, which the sheriff said no, which I don't think is accurate. And then later, so I think that gave me an inkling. And then even then at that time, someone from the Comptroller's Office said we're doing an audit and it's going to reveal a lot of answers to these questions you're asking. So I was looking forward to that. And I think that one of the surprising things initially was that the 364 cars couldn't be located. There's been some pushback on that, and that's a huge percentage of the total. There's been a pushback that's just on the non-sheriff vehicles.
Right.
The sheriff initially wouldn't cooperate at all with the audit, and there's before I get into like quibbling back and forth of he said, she said, because we're going to have this subcommittee, and I look at it that you have rules like you have to have two goals. One is to make it easy to do the right thing, and the other is to make it harder to do the wrong thing. So you don't want people stealing gas. And little things in the audit, they had gas that was reported as somebody who had long retired, somebody who was deceased. So you think, that he probably didn't. The first guy may have taken it, I doubt it, but the second guy definitely didn't take it.
Right.
Yeah. So the issues is you want to get it to make it easy for the person to, have integrity and do the right thing on it, and make it hard. And also, because maybe there's lack of knowledge about it. Maybe somebody does think it's their vehicle to do, whatever, and doesn't realize the consequences of use.
Yeah. I want to read out this statement that was sent out this week by Erie County. It was the Public Works Commissioner, Bill Geary, who sent this. He says the audit we're talking about did not provide an accurate snapshot of day-to-day fleet operations, made references to missing vehicles, as you just mentioned, legislator, that are indeed not missing, he says, and left fleet holding the bag for decisions that were made in the offices of other elected officials or on issues that we're not aware of. While there were some fueling issues to clean up and other administrative items to address, these are manageable and will be completed, he says. It becomes a problem when inaccurate information is reported, so we want to correct that misinformation. You learned maybe something new about those missing vehicles that was in the audit. What have you learned?
One of the things that Bill Geary had shared with me is that on the list of vehicles that are owned by the county include, as soon as we order them from Ford or wherever they're ordered from, then they count as if there are vehicles, even though it takes 6 months, surprisingly, to get them in some cases. So that was one issue. That the thing is quibbling over the data is important, but the more fundamental thing is that Bill Geary shared with me also that there was a Department of Fleet Services, and then when Collins came in, he did that Six Sigma thing, which I'm not fully familiar with every detail of it, but he changed it to the Bureau of Fleet Services. Then when Poland Cars came in as the county executive, he changed it to a division of public works. So Collins had sort of said each department head, each elected, you decide what you're going to do with it. And Fleet Services now is really more of, they don't make these decisions. So I think that's the first major problem of who should get a vehicle and why they should get a vehicle. I've heard, I don't know fully if it's accurate yet, but I've heard that people who just drive to work as a clerk at a place and drive home are getting a new vehicle every 2 years. So when there's no reason for it. And so at the sheriff's department, for one person, I've heard from multiple people that. So the thing is we want to get into that. Why do you have a vehicle?
Certainly, and we're talking about these vehicles. Why is it important? Well, these vehicles and all of the payments, all of the gas, everything, these are owned by taxpayers. And so regardless of whether we're talking about 346 or maybe 300 or 295 vehicles, the idea is that the vehicle fleet operations can be better managed because this is all footed by taxpayers. So let's make sure that we are best stewards of this money. When can we expect to learn more about this? This subcommittee is being formed as we speak.
Yes.
The expectation is that you guys will start meeting in the coming weeks, maybe a report in the coming months?
The first meeting is expected to be January 29th.
Got it.
And at that time, I did want to invite the Comptroller's Office and the other people with their responses. The original with the back and forth was 131 pages, and there's been more since then. But I wanted to sort of get down to that aspect. But the fundamental question of who decides and how do they decide? I think that is really going to help elected and department chairs, because I think, like I was saying, it's to make it easier to do the right thing. If someone says, hey, everyone else has a car, why can't I have a car? It's like, well, it's hard to say no if there's no policy with any limits on it, which it doesn't seem like there's any limits now that are, substantive at this point.
All right, legislator, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.